Welcome back, guys. I was going to sleep, but when I saw Georgianko just drop a video, an interview with Andrew Tate, so I said, I need to do it. First to serve. It's 1 hour ago, he just dropped it, so, but anyway, I was going to sleep, but I said no. And just a quick story, I've been a fan of George when he was doing Vines, but I'm happy for him that he's not anymore with Logan Paul, and so I'm happy for them that now he's successful. Before he was just a third wheel. Now he's better, and I feel he's better. So let's just dive in, guys. I like George Yanko. Subscribe also, guys. Let's help us not to get famous, but anyway, just to get some subscribers.
Exciting episode.
Let's make sure
Comment too. What do you think about all this interview? When we finish it, of course.
we don't disappoint, sir.
Oh, why would you do it? Just makes me so nervous now. All right, cool.
Put you on the spot.
Andrew,
Hello.
welcome. Welcome to the George Janko Show, and thank you for ending season 1. What a great season. What a great season. I brought my notes, bro, because I didn't want to come all the way to Romania and then, forget. So if you see me looking, don't.
Yeah, it's a long way to come. It's kind of the forgotten part of the world. I'm not Romanian, but I certainly put Romania on the map. I don't feel like anyone talked about Romania ever.
Ever. And why did you come here?
I decided to leave the West. I can give you a very happy, funny answer. Do you want happy, funny Andrew, or do you want serious, the world is ending Andrew? There's two different versions.
Let's start. I want both. I want both versions of you.
Sure. Well, I think that the Western world is in serious decline and that literally in real time you can see it falling apart. So you have to find somewhere else to live. And the world's not really that big. I think that the values which held the Western world together at some point have been proven to be false, and all of it is a lie. I feel like all of the metrics in which you can measure the success of a society, the Western world is failing in. So once you accept that, you say, okay, the West is failing. It's on its way down. I can't live in the West. And then you look at a map and you look at South America, which is very dangerous, and I'm not South America.
I like Andrew when he's about to deliver some message. He know how to say it, about how to deliver that message, which words should I use. That's how he deliver it. You might not agree on everything he say. I don't agree on everything he say, but in all cases, he's speaking the truth.
American, and I don't speak Spanish. And then Eastern Europe, which is where we are now, preserves its culture via religion, and they have some other societal, what's the word I'm looking for? Traditions, which certainly preserve the culture better. It's a slower decline.
And this true. I was living in Eastern Europe, Ukraine, and when it comes to keeping the value and the Christianity and stuff, it's there. Although I've been a Muslim, but I saw real Christian, real Christian. In the West, you don't see them. Like for now, I'm in Germany, so you don't see this one. When I engage with people and stuff, they say, "Are we Christian?" But what kind of Christianity? Or that I cannot see it. In your action, not about you just talking. In your action. So I know what I'm saying. Like when it comes to Eastern Europe, Christianity conserves their value.
So I felt like this might be a good place to live. Unfortunately, I think in the 7 years I've been here, Eastern Europe is catching up with the West, and I feel like it's going to go down the same hole. So I'm going to have to move again. But when I moved here 7 years ago, it just felt like a safer place, felt like a nicer place, and decided to leave. I don't see what America or England or the West has for people anymore.
Okay, question. Do you think that this generation is more evil than the past generations that we've
I don't think they're evil. I think they're lost, and I think they're misguided. And I think we're now living in a culture where I'm a full-grown man. I'm 36 years old. I catch myself, even at my ripe old age and high level of professionalism, sometimes for a few seconds, only a few seconds before I correct myself, scrolling on garbage. Imagine how these 14 and 15-year-old children are even being raised. Just scrolling through these social media algorithms, which are deliberately designed to poison their mind. And they're going to school, they're being fed absolute garbage, and they have no religious connotations, no God, family unit. They're just a mess. And then we look at, like I said, every metric in which you can measure the health of a society, the crime rate and the cost of living, basic things, traffic, anything you can measure, the West is falling off a cliff. So it's like, how do you fix all of that? So I decided to move to Eastern Europe, and I had a very good time here, and I was treated very well, and it's a very safe place, and it's a beautiful country. I've been through some recently Recently, things changed a bit. I think
Yeah,
most
you
people
get
know
out of your
about that.
house.
Yeah, yeah.
That's exciting.
Well, I'm allowed out my house. Yeah, that's nice.
What, if you don't mind me asking, what's the first thing you did when you got out of your house?
My first day off of house arrest, I stayed in the house.
That's fucking weird, man.
I know, but it was a sign of resistance.
Oh, you wanted to prove that you could keep going.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel like you're flexing all the time. Like, is there like if I was on house arrest, who the fuck you flexing for? Just leave. And anything, you could have lied and be like, no, I stayed for an extra 3 days. But like you stayed.
I stayed.
Just to prove a point.
Yeah,
now, was it for your
lie.
brother or was it for your? No, I was just joking about the lie.
Yeah.
Actually, I have it in my notes because I know that you don't like lying, and I have a story about lying. I was I'm not gonna mention his name out of respect for him, but he took me on his jet. We were having a great time. We were about to do business together.
Yep.
We were courtside, and he made a comment about one of the basketball players. He's like, well, he's a little bitch because he told his teammate was cheating and got him in a scandal.
Yep.
And I said, well, the other man was cheating. He was lying.
Yeah.
And he turns to me and he goes, if you have a problem doing business with people that cheat, you'll never work. And I, one, stopped immediately wanting to work with this guy. Two, my provider is God, nobody else.
Yeah.
So it comes with morals.
Yep.
If you're gonna cheat on a woman that you're building a life with and
Yeah.
being fruitful with, what the fuck are you gonna do to me?
Well, that's very true, and that's very valid. And
It's true.
But I'll play devil's advocate here. What the other guy said about if you have problems doing business with somebody who cheats, you're never gonna do any business. Unfortunately, he's also pretty right because it's
Yes, but
rife.
not with partners though. I don't feel like you want to get in business with a partner. I mean, think about this. He shares a family bloodline with the person that he's robbing.
Yeah,
I'm nothing to him.
that's true, and that is infallible logic.
So how can I even? For me, my girl, right? She's my partner.
Yeah.
I couldn't focus if I had to come do this interview with you, and I know she's out somewhere now. I have to think about what she's doing. It's taking away from me.
Yeah.
So if I'm breaking bread with a man and I'm doing business with him, I can't sit around wasting my time thinking about what he's doing.
And you're completely right, and I totally understand that. But as a honest individual, I have to sit here and be honest and analyze myself and analyze my own.
That's a nice debate, like George, what he's doing right now. He doesn't agree with everything Andrew say, and he giving his point, and George have a nice point here. I also agree with his point. That's really a nice point. If someone is a cheater and he's cheating on his wife, you're nothing to him. You cannot trust him.
Romantic relationships. Am I completely faithful in the traditional sense? No. Why is that? That's a good question. I can't say exactly why that is, but I think that probably the biggest decline in the Western world I have to accept, even though I partake in it and even though I am guilty of it. I think the biggest failing of the Western world is that men and women do not stick together anymore. I think it would fix a lot of problems.
I find that very fascinating that you know that's the problem. You teach men to be better men and to fix their problems. Don't run away from it. But you know that monogamy is a challenge for you, but you don't want to.
It's not a challenge. Monogamy is not a challenge for me. Monogamy is a decision that every man must make. But for you to make that decision, you have to sit down and decide that, this woman is worth me being monogamous to, which is fine. I think the biggest struggle that men have in the Western world today is finding a woman who they believe is worth being monogamous to. I don't think men have a problem
really
with
hard.
monogamy as much as men have a problem finding a woman who they truly believe they should be monogamous to. Also, that's something that's interesting about monogamy because we can talk about this and it can be a very interesting conversation. In days of old, high-value men, important men, kings, warriors, whatever, had multiple wives. And they had to look after the multiple wives, or they had mistresses, and they had children with them all, and they had to look after them all. In certain cultures today, that is still the case. In certain religions today, that is still the case. In the Christian world, in the Western world, we have said that's unacceptable. We should be monogamous.
Yeah.
But then you have the majority of men who are monogamous are cheating. The ones who are not cheating are using prostitutes sometimes, or going to strip clubs sometimes, or consuming pornography.
True.
So they're not truly actually
No.
loyal. So you've
No.
moved the idea of a man having 3 or 4 women
My
he
wife
loves
is
and taking
around
care
here,
of,
so no.
to a man having 1 woman he's supposed to love and doing a whole bunch of things in secret. You've just subsidized monogamy and you've removed it all towards pornography and degeneracy. So then you have to sit and argue, well, why does so much degeneracy happen in the West? Is it because we are not allowing men to be more true to their instincts? This is all brand new thoughts for me, and I'm just speaking.
You know the crazy part about all this, what he's preaching here, Andrew Tate, and all his messages that he's been talking, that I was born in Algeria, growing up in Algeria. We didn't have this trouble. we still don't have this trouble. We have no trouble like this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but in Africa, still pure. When I'm here, I start seeing a lot of things, but before, it's pure. Africa is pure. And they trying to whatever is going around here, put it in Africa. You know?
As I think. But let's look at another example, right?
Well, before, can I tap in with that? So what's your example, right? So I have an example, Christ. He gives me his way, and I kind of follow it. If I had to follow men and their needs, I'd be burned up tomorrow.
And I don't think it's needs. I don't think men cheat because of needs. I think
well, okay. Women cheat because of like feelings, they get an emotional attachment to them. Men cheat because of more lustful body type thing. I've never heard of a man being like, man, I can't wait to talk to Becky.
Of course, but I think a lot of it's also ego.
Exactly. So, but ego, what comes before ego? Or it comes after ego?
Yeah, a fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my thing is, yes, when I met here's my theory.
Yeah.
When I was out about and I was having fun, as a Christian man, I was waiting for the right woman.
Yeah.
And I came to this guy and he goes, I don't understand. I thought you were Christian. And I go, listen, bro, I'll be a good Christian man to a good Christian woman. When I find somebody who has good morals and I know that she'll have my back and she'll do good, and when God presents me that girl, I will be a good man to her.
But that's also wrong what he's explaining right now. You should be good before, not when I find the right. No, you should to be good. You also should to be good for the right woman to come to you. You know what I mean? If it makes sense. I don't know. I'm a Muslim, so I don't know how to explain it though.
And he asked me something that changed my life forever. He goes, well, if you're the son of God and you're asking for his daughter, why would that father ever give you a daughter when you treat everybody else like garbage? And so I had to think. I think when it comes to blessings, I believe that it's given from God.
Yep.
And to move on to new blessings, you have to handle what you've been given.
Agreed.
So if I've been given the fame and the money and the access to women, God's monitoring me. Okay, are you going to go fool around, act like trash?
Can you be trusted?
Could you be trusted with this daughter that I have over here?
Yes.
Kind of like that picture where Jesus is holding a beautiful bear behind him, and then you're holding on to this lifestyle that you still want, but you're like, this is great. And God's like, no, give it to me. Show me you're ready for it, and then I'll present it, like any good father would be.
Yes, absolutely.
And I did. I cleaned up my act. I was celibate, and I was showing him, I'm trying now to be ready. And then I found a beautiful girl, and then I became monogamous, and then I have a good partnership. And here's the thing. I could lead that relationship anywhere I want. If I wanted to be opened, it could be there. Not saying that she's comfortable with it, but when it first started, I could plant the seeds into taking it in any direction that I want.
Correct.
It takes somebody with integrity to lead a woman in the right direction.
Absolutely.
I tell people all the time, I'm in charge of this relationship. God is in charge of everything.
Yeah.
So when my girl looks at me to lead the house, I got to lead the house, but it's not from my needs. Because if it was my needs, bro, she's out shit cold. That like she's not gonna get the best out of it.
Of course.
But now I have a God looking at me and monitoring it. You gotta love her like you love my church.
No, absolutely. Everything you're saying is completely true, and I agree with you. There's two ways we can answer the question. We can talk about it from a religious perspective and what you just described, and you're right, being a God-fearing man is going to lead a woman in the correct direction because a woman is a reflection of her man, and that's why you see if a woman gets with a bad guy who does drugs, she ends up doing drugs and doing bad things, and a man can lead her in the wrong direction.
She comes from our ribs, metaphorically and physically and mentally, right? So if I'm gonna be, like you're saying, doing drugs, she's gonna follow my lead.
Absolutely. But I'm just talking about it from a societal perspective. I'm making an overall societal observation, the fact that now we have monogamous societies.
Religion is something different.
But because they're not truly monogamous, all of the desire is being outsourced towards degeneracy, as opposed to having a society where a man is allowed more than one wife, for example, and then the degeneracy isn't needed. You don't need pornography and you don't need prostitution if you're allowed to have 2, 3, 4 wives if you're successful. And the point I was going to make earlier is that in certain countries, this is still the case. And I'm just speaking here in generalities. I don't have proof for any of this, but if you look at Russia, right? Russia is a Christian nation. There's a lot of Muslims as well, but it's traditionally a Christian nation. But if you're a very rich, powerful Russian man, and I've been to Moscow, I can assure you, you have maybe 4 or 5 wives. Or not wives, 4 or 5 girls.
Yeah.
And your wife understands about who the other girls are, and she doesn't really care. Don't look, don't care, don't ask. I have a Bentley, I have a big house, I have the children. He plays around with these other girls sometimes. I don't care, I'm his wife, and that's just how things are set up. That particular man who's very, very rich, he's not interested in pornography, he's not interested in prostitutes, he's satisfied he has enough for whatever his ego desires or his heart desires. Then you look at the West, and you look at the most degenerate things which can possibly happen, which are actually levels above prostitution and pornography. If you look at Epstein's Island, for example, when you have very rich, powerful men and they're told by the public sphere, you're not allowed to have more than one woman, but they don't have God to control them. They're godless. Then they say, okay, well, how can I satisfy myself if God's not restricting me? The society is saying I can only have one woman. I'm not allowed to have 4 or 5, which would satisfy me in some regard for my ego or unhealthy reason or whatever my reason is. So I'm going to end up doing things in private. I'm going to end up doing things in secret. And then you have Epstein's Island appear. So it's kind of interesting. God is important, and God is extremely required to restrict people. But if you take the God out of the element and you only use society to try and restrict the sexual desires of people and tell them they have to be monogamous, you're going to end up with more degeneracy than if men were allowed to be polyamorous and have more than one wife. Does that make sense?
100%. And the reason why I asked you, is this generation more evil than the last? And I wanted to circle back how you said the West is falling apart.
Yeah.
I believe that it's kind of, and I always go back to biblical references, not because I'm an annoying Christian, but I just like truth. And I notice that truth comes out of these testimonies that I see.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I've realized with humanity, God or no God, it's your access.
Yeah.
And I think that's why God reflects the heart. He doesn't reflect your actions. He reflects your heart. Because let me give you an example, pornography. I don't watch porn.
Me neither.
The reason why I don't watch porn is, one, it's unhealthy.
For me, before you carry on, I don't watch porn because it's genuinely uninteresting. Like
It's gotten weird.
Me neither. But I was too much addicted to it when I was in Nigeria. I hope. Okay, my mom and my father and my brother's family doesn't have this. They don't have the channel, so they're not gonna hear this. So, but I was addicted when I was a kid. Not a kid, but you know, on puberty. Anyway.
Weird.
You could put porn on, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
I just don't get it. That's the thing.
And also, for example, I like to practice the monogamous relationship. So when I get married one day, I know my girlfriend's not going to be at the prime model look when she's 50 or whatever she is. So I got to practice that this is the only woman that I have. It's diligence.
Correct.
Okay. So opening up the access. Look at a man who's watching pornography. I fall off the wagon every once in a while. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm perfect. About a year, maybe 2 years ago, I was watching porn, and there was, back in the day when I was growing up, was like your stepmom.
Yeah.
And to me, that was always weird because I'm like, dude, that's your, like, still, it's your mom.
Yeah.
Now it's your mom. And then when I, like, last year when I tried, I did a KSI and Sidemen thing where it was Impulsive and Sidemen. We did this collab, and there was a girl who does porn there, and I made a joke, and I go, look, I'm stuck. And it went viral, and I realized, I'm like, everybody laughed at this joke because they know what I'm saying. And it's this porn style thing where if women are stuck, then men would come and have sex with them.
Yeah.
That's rape.
Of course it is. Yeah.
That's rape.
Yep.
And these men are enjoying this.
Yep.
So what is this teaching them? That you could take what doesn't belong to you. And I think a lot of the things that they're programming these kids to do actually comes first through pornography because you watch it in secret and you're not really dabbling with your men what you're watching. It's kind of like a mustard seed that grows.
Yep. But then the question is, are they
Who's doing it on purpose?
Well, there you go. Then you go deeper down the rabbit hole.
Okay, let's go deep.
Let's accept pornography is bad for a society. Let's accept that to be a fact.
It is a
It is
fact.
true. Okay,
Yeah.
so pornography is bad for a society. Okay, why are they trying to destroy the society? Who are these people? What is their end goal? Is their end goal the sexualization of children? Is their end goal 12-year-olds to sit there and watch pornography and want to have sex?
It's crazy for me because it's hard for me to believe that there is some people controlling the world. It's like, it's crazy to me because all I know is Allah who controls the world, like God who controls the world. So for me to tell me this, some people control the world and do this and do this and do this, it's just weird to me. You know what I mean? It's just weird to me. Even if maybe it's true, maybe not, I don't know, but it's weird to me because all I know is God controls the world. He created us, He controls everything. So yeah, please, if you have some stuff to say about this, what you're hearing right now, please comment, and I'm gonna be happy to talk about it in the next video. Just comment.
Their end goal to confuse 12-year-olds to want
And I will answer everyone on the comments. So
them to try and change genders. Is that their end goal? I don't know. Is that why they take down the country's flag and put up another flag? This is another thing you have to understand. We talk about the Western world being fallen.
Do you mind moving that mic towards your
We
mouth?
talk about the Western world being fallen. What even is the culture of the Western world anymore? We have gang signs, and we have frozen food, and we have the pride flag. What else? Like, what even is there anymore that unifies us in any regard? I mean, I think, I'm pretty sure, and I've never tested this, I don't want to find out, I'm under enough matrix attacks, but if you were to burn an American flag and burn a pride flag, you do more time for burning the pride flag. It's a hate crime. So you have to actually then understand is
that true?
If this is destroying society, is it being done on purpose? And what is the end goal of it? And who's doing it in the first place? And then it gets really scary. I agree with everything you're saying about pornography, and I agree with everything you're saying about monogamy. I'm just trying to analyze the world and how it actually functions, and how do you fix these things? And
setting examples, leading by example. My question to you is this. Let's label this group of people that I want to label so we can always circle back to it. What would you like to call them? The Matrix?
The Matrix.
The Matrix. So the Matrix is there. Do you feel like the Matrix is hyped up using media? Because think about it. When I walk around and I have discussions with people, not a lot of people have the same agenda that the media is having. And I think people are keeping up with it. So do you think they're flexing their power? Let me give you an example. Yeah. God is all powerful, all strong. Yeah. The devil isn't. But what his power is lies. Yeah. So he confuses you. God uses faith. The devil uses fear. Yeah. Do you think the Matrix is just full of shit and they're just fear-based?
Oh, they're absolutely fear-based.
So what is your goal? If you had to fight, like you are fighting, and you're banned from, what are you banned from? Like,
everything.
As a Muslim, I'm agreeing with George what he's saying right now. He's delivering it perfect.
But you're on Twitter.
Elon bought Twitter and restored me. Before this, I was banned on Twitter also. I'm banned on...
Why did you get banned?
I got banned because you get 3 lives. And the 3 lives are, first you get canceled and banned absolutely everywhere. And the second life is they try and put you in jail for something you didn't do. And then the third life is they assassinate you. And I'm now on my second life, as most people have experienced in real time. I got banned because I became monumentally popular. I became hugely successful. I became the most Googled person on the planet. And then they make up a reason to get rid of you. And I'm banned on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Uber, Airbnb, Gmail, WhatsApp.
You can't get an Uber?
I can't get an Uber, no. Gmail, WhatsApp, you name an application.
All for standing up for what you believe in.
Well, yeah. I mean, I made some satirical jokes, of course. And
Could you give me an example of something that you've said that you may have crossed the line?
I don't think I ever said anything that truly crossed the line. I'm going to stand by this because I don't believe in regrets, and I don't believe in sitting here and saying sorry for anything because I'm not a coward. If I made a video 10 years ago that got 84 YouTube views, and me and my brother were joking about how women can't park and women shouldn't drive, and then I became the most Googled man on the planet, and then that is found, and then a bunch of feminists get upset